Mrs. Moore, in the meantime, could you also put our link in chat?
Which link? I'm sorry.
Our slide.
I don't have that accessible at the
Oh,
moment. I'm so sorry.
got it. No problem. All right. Let me see if I can do that.
I can add it. Don't worry if you like.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. So feel free to, if you have questions in the meantime, to put it in our Q&A, and we will try to answer as many as possible tonight. So once again, welcome. And we want to first let you know that we have some exciting events ahead of us for you to save those dates on your calendar. So planning ahead, especially around August, in the beginning of August is when you'll be getting our Hopkins newsletter. It's going to come in the mail and also in your email as well. And it's going to have a lot of different information regarding these dates, but specifically our web will be August 8th. And for the sixth graders, they will have the web activities. This is where everyone belongs. It's a really, really cool program where our student leaders that will be eighth graders, they're going to be leading fun activities for the students to get to know each other, and campus tour. That will be 8:30 to 10:30 in the morning. May's Day is the day when they will be coming to take their ID pictures, getting more school forms. ASB, they can sign up to have ASB cards that will give them a lot of discounts for school events, actually getting them to come to the socials for free and to be able to buy Hopkins clothing. And then the first day of school is August 16th. So want to make sure that you save those dates on your calendar. And we want to talk a little bit about the whys behind middle school too. Why are we transitioning from junior high to middle school? So for many years now, we have been noticing that when we jump from elementary to junior high, that it's a big shock to many students where they were so used to just having one teacher throughout the day to all of a sudden at a junior high where they have 6 different teachers. Middle school, especially with the 6th grade model, allows for that soft transition where the students, instead of going from 1 to 6 teachers, all of a sudden they have their core teachers. So this is a teacher that's the same for English history, another teacher for math and science, and then one more teacher or 2 more PE teacher, and then the elective wheel teacher. So it's a soft transition, and Mrs. Moore will explain that in more detail later on. And also now that we have 3 years of middle school, that it allows parents to feel more connected and more involved as well. And then also, as you can see here, that the Common Core standards are actually broken down to have the middle school grades from 6 to 8. So it allows us to be more aligned with the Common Core state standards as well. All right, so you see our administration team, 2 of us are right here. And when time is appropriate, we will announce our 2nd assistant principal that's coming our way. And we have our counseling team right now as well. We have 2 counselors. We have 1 more. We have a 6th grade counselor that's coming. So each grade level will have its own counselor that's there to serve students. And just as a reminder, counselors are there, of course, not only to address students' academic needs, but especially as students mature into preteens and teenagers, they will go through maybe sometimes crunchy stuff with friends and with people in class. So our counselors are there to help them figure out these sometimes tricky social situations and help them come up with some problem-solving ways to resolve these conflicts too. All right, and our team is growing in the office as well. We'll be getting more staff members to support the students that are coming in and our growing school. But right now we have Mrs. Espacio in the office. She is dealing with purchases of ASB cards, donations, and our school calendar. If you ever have questions about registration, transcripts, report cards, Then Miss Loeb, our registrar, is the one to go to. Attendance, COVID reporting, that will be our attendance clerk, Miss Young. We have our campus supervisor. He does a really good job, Mr. Wong, helping with traffic control, making sure that the cars are coming in and out very smoothly and very safely, that everyone's keeping safe throughout the day. Ms. Rella is there to help with our school website, any health office, issues with health that needs to be taken care of right away. She's very helpful. And we also have Ms. Marcia there as well. She's our part-time nurse that is helping to address any health concerns and keeping medications on campus. She's our go-to. Right, want to emphasize that as soon as you enter our Hopkins Middle School, you will, as parents, you are automatically members of our Parent Faculty Association. And I really like and believe deeply in the quote on the right side of the screen that it takes a village to support every child. And of course, it also takes a village to support every parent. And our school is your village, and PFA especially, that is your bigger village, because that's full of other family members. Some of them have been with us all 3 years, and you as well might be new, right? Your sixth grader might be your oldest one, so other PFA members can help you answer questions. What do? They help raise money to support our students and our teachers, and they also help us organize a lot of volunteer projects and programs. If you have ever been to Hopkins around drop-off and pickup times, you'll see a lot of family volunteers helping us control traffic, and you could help us next year as well. And they also help us organize our promotion for the 8th graders. And they meet every first Wednesday of the month. This year, they have been meeting virtually, and the location for next year is still to be determined. And again, everyone is welcome to attend. It's a really great way to stay well informed on everything that's Hopkins related. And the way to help is you can donate in the beginning of the school year. We always work with PFA to identify areas that need especially financial support, so you know where your money is going to. And also you can donate your time. Again, we have a lot of PFA sponsored events. Our socials actually are sponsored by PFA, and we always need volunteers. And that form will be in your May State packet. You can help, once again, help us keep the traffic afloat. And you can also be a member of the board. These leadership positions help make PFA possible. So right now, our president is Ms. Pritika Gupta. Her contact email is right there. We have some open positions that will be available very soon. Once we have that information, we'll send those out to elementary schools to help us promote. And you can definitely run for these board positions already, because you will be our PFA members next year. And once again, the website is right there, so you can take a look as well to look at more information. All right, so specifically about next year's schedule and academic programs, I'll pass the mic over to Mrs. Moore.
All right, thank you. So there was a question in the Q&A about what is due this week. So there's the yellow form that was given to you. There's not a whole lot for you to do on the yellow form, but you will be submitting that back to this current 5th grade teacher along with your proofs of residency. So that's basically what you are submitting. We put a due date for March 17th, forgetting that there's no school for students this Friday. So feel free to submit the form either on the 16th or wait until Monday the 20th. That's fine. So here is what a traditional schedule will look like for our 6th graders. I had an opportunity to meet with all the incoming 6th graders back in February. I either visited the school or they came to Hopkins for the presentation and a tour of the campus. So the students will be, they'll have a teacher who teaches them both the math CC1 and science. they'll have a teacher who teaches both the English and history. They'll have a PE teacher, and then they'll have their teacher who teaches the elective wheel. And we'll go into what that elective wheel looks like in a moment. That elective wheel teacher could be one of their other teachers. So it could be the same one as like their math teacher in science, or it could be somebody completely different. So they could have up to four students, or excuse me, 4 teachers. Next slide. This is what our traditional bell schedule looks like. It varies throughout the week depending on the day of the week, but first period always begins at 8:15, and most of our days end at 2:27. We do have early release on Wednesdays, which means we get out at 1:24. But no matter what the schedule is, that day we always start at 8:15, and there's going to be almost 500 more students coming next year. So, you know, carpooling, students walking, riding their bike, planning ahead, you know, so that you can, you know, we have a nice drop off loop, but there is a line out onto Driscoll Road. So the more carpooling, the better. So if you could plan to be on campus between 8:10 to avoid tardies, that would be good. This is that elective wheel that I was telling you about. This is the 6th class that students would be taking. So we're going to look at what these different courses are. Every student taking the elective wheel, first quarter, they will all start with the academic strategies. And then the other 3 classes, the digital citizenship, lifestyle essentials, and innovation, those will be taught at different times in the year, you know, different quarters. We have 4 quarters for the school year. The students are going to be transitioning from a trimester to a semester schedule. So we can go to the next slide and look at what these classes actually are. So the academic strategies, again, all students will begin with this elective in the first quarter. This is going to help them with their study skills, organization, goal setting, time management, hopefully being better students. Then there's the digital citizenship. This is going to help them with implementing safety on, you know, using online sources, you know, looking at cyberbullying, digital footprint that they leave. I always tell students, no matter what you put online, it's there forever. Even if you think you deleted it, or even if you think it's private, nothing that you put online is private. And then also teaching them balance, you know, so that they're not doing too much online activity, balancing with other things in life. The lifestyle essentials, they'll be looking at nutrition, fitness, social emotional health, stress management, all good things to have. And then the final one is the innovation. This is where they'll be doing hands-on activities, project-based, you know, working collaboratively with each other. And it's hard to know exactly what this will be because it'll vary depending on the teacher. I had asked Ms. Perez, you know, because she's at Horner, and she gave me some examples. She was giving examples of them designing like a sneaker and having to market it, or I think there was one like a food truck, like they had to design a food truck and what the menu will be, and marketing that as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing the different projects that the classes create. So a common question is, will students be having PE and, you know, going into the locker room? The answer is yes. A lot of the incoming 6th graders were very excited about this, having PE every day, especially knowing that they are not going to be having official recess time anymore. So they were excited knowing that they will have PE. Yes, they will go into the locker room. The locker room will be shared with the 7th and 8th grade students as well. That was questions that was coming up in the chat. They will be changing out into their PE clothes and then going back into their regular clothes before they go to the next class. They'll each be assigned a locker so that they can store their belongings. So that's that made some people nervous, but a lot of people excited. I talked to your students about what we do right after lunch. We have different things during the week. So right now on Mondays and Fridays, right after lunch, but before fifth period officially begins, we have a read period where students read. They just silent read for about 20-25 minutes before fifth period officially starts. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have what's called Flex. And we call it that because it's flexible. So examples that I gave students for flex time, again, it's right after lunch before fifth period begins. This is an opportunity for students just to get a head start on their homework. It's an opportunity for them to go travel to another teacher in case they need assistance on assignment. Maybe they were absent because they had a dentist appointment, so they missed their math quiz. It's an opportunity to go back to that teacher to make up the quiz that they missed. There may be a guest speaker or a club meeting for them to attend at that time. So again, it's very flexible. What I made sure they understood, or I hope they understood, it's not free time. So flex time is not free time for them to just do whatever they want, but it is a time for them to get things done school related, whether it's sitting in their fifth period and getting a head start on homework or studying for a test or getting assistance from another teacher. And I'm going to hand it back to, well, before I hand it back to Ms. Quay, I feel like I need to, can we go back to the screen, Ms. Quay, that had the sixth grade schedule on it with the 4 different teachers? Because I do want to point out one thing on that slide. And then I'll let Ms. Perez talk a little bit as well. So again, for our students, they'll have their math and science teacher, their English and history teacher, and their physical education teacher, as well as their elective wheel. There are some exceptions to this for our students who may require English language services, our ELD learners, or our students who have IEPs that require core support. So a student who has an IEP and will need a period of core support, they will be in core support instead of the elective wheel. So every day they will go to their core support teacher for the extra help. Students who require English language development skills, I'm going to let Ms. Perez talk about this because she's more savvy. I'm still learning because we haven't had sixth graders yet, and I want to make sure you get the information correct the first time.
So multilingual learners need additional English language support. And so if based on their LPAC scores, which is an English language proficiency test that all multilingual learners take in the spring. Many of the kids are currently taking that now at the elementary school if their child is a multilingual learner. So if they are a level 1, if they score a level 1 on LPAC, they will be in 3 periods of ELD. So instead of taking the English 6, History 6 class and the elective wheel, a level 1, which is pretty much a novice English speaker, will take 3 periods of ELD instead. A level 2 English learner who's, I would say, intermediate would take the elective wheel, but they would also take 2 periods of designated ELD, which is English language development support, instead of taking English 6 and History 6. Somebody who's a level 3, who is kind of on that cusp of what we call proficiency, would be in the English 6, History 6 core, but within that class, they would get some additional support from their teacher.
Thank you for
answered.
Thank you so much for explaining those services. And so then I'm going to hand it back to Ms. Quay. She's going to take over. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask, answer questions.
No worries. Thank you, Mrs. Moore.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so talking about school support, we have a lot of different places where we're meeting the different needs of our students. Our library is open before school around 7:30 to after school to 3:30. So our school usually ends around 2:30 on most days, except Wednesday when we have the early release and it ends at 1:30. Our library opens until 3:30 so that our students can stay there to get work done, to read if they would like, and that's open for students. We also have a wellness center that we're really excited about that we started to open up this year, and that's open every lunch, every day for our students who would like to just enjoy their lunch in a space where they can relax. And there's a lot of different calming activities that they can do. And it's supervised by one of our counselors to lead them through some activities where they can talk with each other, sometimes people that they haven't met before. We, of course, have our counselors, and we also have partnered with Fremont's Family and Youth Services to have a therapist on site as well. And she is there twice a week to help us with students who need the additional support. And we have what we talk about in the very beginning, the Where Everyone Belongs program, where our 8th grade students are student leaders and they plan out multiple activities throughout the year. It's not just the web day in the very beginning before school starts, but it's throughout the school year. They have different get to know you and continuing to build relationship activities where students can strengthen that connection across grade levels. And this is where also our students can step up and into becoming leaders. And we see that because we have these connections and these relationships that and they get strengthened throughout the year, that we really don't see a lot of bullying going on. And I see some concerns about 6th graders coming in, and when they're walking during passing period, they are going to come across 7th and 8th graders. And during lunch, they're having lunch together. And we see that as the possibility for more positive relationships. And we're all out there as well to monitor interactions and make sure everything's okay.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
Because I will say I've been now, we've had 6th graders at Horner. This is our 3rd year. The first year was on COVID. So this is our first 2 years with 6th graders on campus. I'll be honest, the 8th graders don't really want to have anything to do with the 6th graders, so they leave them alone. There is quite a bit of mingling, but really students, it's not been an issue having 6th, 7th, and 8th graders on a campus together. When we have issues, it's usually within a grade level. So a 6th grader teasing another 6th grader, which happens, it's going to happen. But rarely, I can't even think of an instance at my school where an 8th grader has been bothering a younger student. And so it really is not been an issue of having the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders on campus. And something to keep in mind is at elementary school, you have that age gap anyway. You have the 4th, 5th, and 6th graders together. They've been in school together, many of them for years. And so, we're there to remind them when they need to behave better. But like I said, these fears that the parents have had, which you are not the only ones, did not come to fruition when the 6th graders came to both Walters and Horner.
And keep in mind, when they go to high school, they're going to be 9th graders with the 12th graders. I mean, this is just the cycle. So the 6th graders will be fine. There's not that big of an age difference. They'll be good.
And we encourage you to continue to let us know if you're hearing any concerning information from your students. In fact, this year already, we were able to proactively intervene when students have, again, some just crunchy social issues. They're not bullying necessarily, but maybe they're just feeling uncomfortable because they used to be friends, but because the parents let us know that our counselors were able to lead some proactive conversations between the students, and they're fine just talking it out, being able to have that safe space to interact and communicate with each other. And that's really valuable learning experience to be able to communicate their needs to another person before it becomes a big issue. And middle school, we also have a lot of fun activities to help students get to know each other in different ways and relax. We have our 3 socials throughout the year, and each social always has a theme to make it more fun. And our parents help us, of course, providing volunteers to help supervise the event. We have many clubs available. We have chess club, we have gender alliance, um, and we have our Muslim Student Association, for example. And these are clubs that are started by students. And 6th graders, they can start clubs as well. If anyone's ever interested in starting a club, if they don't see it being available, if there are students who want to start, like, for example, maybe a sticker exchange club, that's totally cool. All they have to do is talk to their counselor, and the counselor can help them reach out to see if any teachers would like to be the club advisor, and that's all they need. They will have that space to meet during lunch, and that's a club. We have our performances, we have both a drama club, and we also have a music program, both orchestra and band. So they put up performances like a theater, a show or a concert. And lunchtime, we have fun Fridays every last Friday of the month. And it's always a themed Friday lunchtime where the students get to sometimes do step dancing together. Sometimes they are karaokeing right in the middle of the courtyard. Those are all different ways for students to have fun and enjoy each other's companies. And of course, we have athletics, we have volleyball and basketball for both girls and boys. And they are, each sport has 2 teams available. The A team is more advanced players and the B team is more beginning players. And the 6th graders are, of course, able to try out for these 4 sports. They don't take place at the same time. We have 1 sport per season. We have the boys volleyball first, and then we have, oh no, the girls volleyball first in the fall, and then we have the boys basketball around November. Right now is the season for girls basketball. The season's about to be over. And then we're going to be having the boys volleyball that's practicing right now this week and about to have games in April. So a lot of different ways for students to be involved outside of classrooms. And because we have both Mandarin and Spanish immersion programs, we also have the different student leaders to help us lead different cultural celebrations, as well as, of course, family volunteers. And this year, we really enjoyed having Dia de los Muertos during lunch for students to enjoy different activities together, led by the students in our Spanish immersion program. And then for the Lunar New Year, as you can see here in the pictures, we also had different lunchtime learning activities for students, as well as the dragon and the lion dancing during lunch. So we're looking forward to continuing that next year as well, just different ways to celebrate each other's cultures. And then once again, just make sure that you're marking your calendar for the Maze Day and the web orientation information. If you're not able to join those dates, you can always pick up the packets from our main office afterwards too. Right, I want to also give another plug for our Hopkins Expo. We used to call it open house, but we like the new name much more because it better represents what we're doing, which is an exposition of learning. And you all are welcome to come on campus for this event because you'll be able to walk around campus with your child and see what different student projects are presented by each department. You can walk around and see the classrooms as well and interact with our staff. So that will be April 19th. That's a Wednesday from 6:30 to 8. All right. We want to, of course, give some time for Q&A, but I also want to just make sure that everyone knows that we have a video that our film students created with their film teacher, Mr. Perek, as the advisor. And we'll put up the link again in the chat in a moment. But if you have a moment, please take a look. I think it really gives you an idea of how fun and how joyous middle school is for students. And the students do a really good job introducing the different parts of middle school. So please take a look if you have a moment with your students so that they can see the different parts of Hopkins. All right. So Mrs. Moore, let me think, should we do the same? I'll try to answer the questions from the top and you from the bottom, and we can take turns
Sure, that sounds
addressing
good.
people's.
I'll
All
go
right.
down to the bottom.
Okay. All right.
So
So
there's a question about electives, explaining the electives better. So just some questions that have come up, I've noticed in the chat. So for sixth grade, students do not have access to honors classes or accelerated in sixth grade. They don't have, and they don't have elective choices. Not so when they start seventh grade, they get to have some elective choices like drama, film, robotics. So in sixth grade, their elective is that wheel, the wheel that I showed you with the 4 different classes, 1 per quarter. The only exception is if we have students who have an IEP who require core support, or like Ms. Perez was explaining about students who may need extra ELD support, English language development support. So other than that, the wheel is those 4 classes that had the oh, now I'm drawing a blank. It had the study skills,
Academic strategies,
Thank you.
digital citizenship,
Innovation.
innovations, and lifestyle essentials.
So they'll have 1 per quarter. So they have no elective choices. There's been questions about band. The band will still be after school for sixth grade. Once they join seventh grade, then they'll have the option of taking band during the school day as their elective.
all right, someone asked when the wellness center is open. Right now it's open during lunch every day, and we are planning to continue that schedule next year as well. And sometimes during our flex period, our counselors do lead some small groups and do social activities with them, and that will take place sometimes in the wellness room as well. All right, and then someone asked about zero period. Zero period is only available to our Spanish and our Mandarin immersion students because they have that language class in the target language, right? Whether it's Spanish or Mandarin, that zero period allows them to take the wheel class as their 7th class. And zero period starts at 7:25 each day. So we want to make sure that families are really talking with their students to make sure that their student is able to wake up that early, because 7:25 could be pretty early for 6th graders. If they're late to the class after 10 times, we do drop them because we want to make sure that they are able to receive as much information as they're sign up for.
Oh, sometimes the thing will change and then I lose where my message was. Again, a lot of questions about band. Band is not available during the school day for 6th graders. So any band or orchestra will be after school. Have a lot of those. And then more questions about the electives, but hopefully this might be an old question. So hopefully our answer before took care of that. You can always reach out to Mr. Sarton, our band director, if you have questions. I don't know if they have next year's schedule planned yet. He's pretty organized, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does. But Mr. Sarton, we can put his name. I'll put his name in the chat. And you're more than welcome to reach out to him if you have questions about after school band.
Someone asked which forms are due on the 16th. So especially if you are in our feeder schools, including Blakeout and Bringhurst, your fifth grade teacher should have given you the registration form from Hopkins. If you did not receive the form, you can always come to our main office for that form as well. So that form is due on the 16th, as well as the 2 proofs of residency.
There's questions about the immersion program. So if you're not familiar with the immersion program, I recommend you go to the district's website and search. There'll be information on the district website. Most of the students in immersion have been in that program since kindergarten. Some students do test in. So your student would already have to be pretty fluent with either Mandarin or Spanish to be eligible. And then you would have to set up an appointment with the district to take a test and to see if your student is even eligible. So again, go to the district website and search in the bar for immersion program so that you can learn more about it. And we will have our immersion info night tomorrow for our immersion parents to join. So because your students program at Hopkins is going to look different than what our regular non-immersion students will be doing. So hopefully you'll be able to join us tomorrow as well. If not, we'll record it.
Can I chime in about a question? And it kind of is all encompassing. There's a few questions about GATE and honors and math. So just like at the elementary school, there is no honors courses for 6th grade. That will not start until 7th grade. And there has not been a math placement test for quite a few years in FUSD. What they did this year and last year was set criteria for enrollment in 7th grade in accelerated math based on iReady scores, but that could change every year. So midway through your child's 6th grade year, the district or someone, the district most likely will let us know what the criteria is going to be for enrolling in accelerated classes for 7th grade math accelerated the following year. That could change. And then as far as honors criteria, that is also on the district website. Again, not available until the kids are in 7th grade. One last question that had come up, GATE identification. The district has not done a GATE test for quite a few years. However, students can continue to be GATE identified as of now in both 5th and 6th grade. There is information about GATE identification on the district website as well. We encourage you to go look there for that. Although students do not need to be GATE identified to enroll in honors classes in 7th grade.
No, if they're not GATE identified, we use their grades to determine. And we'll go all into that next year. So right now, that's not even on the table. You can always go to the districts, look at the district criteria. We follow what the district lays out for us. But for 6th grade, there's no honors, there's no accelerated.
There's a question about COVID mitigations. All of our classrooms have air purifiers and also the CO2 monitors. We don't know if the county guidelines will change, as we have experienced, right? All of us, including families, of course, that the whole situation changes. And right now it is improving somewhat, but we don't know if the guidelines will change for next year. But I don't imagine that we will. Right now, masking is optional. I think it might continue to be that way. If students are choosing to continue to wear the mask just to have that preventative measure, that's completely fine. Contact tracing, again, right now we are doing that, but I don't know if that will continue. That will be based on the county guidelines and our district guidance too. In terms of registration form status and residency form, if we got everything. So again, if you turn in everything to the 5th grade teachers, we will be picking them up from those teachers very soon. And if you are ever wanting some confirmation, you can always feel free to reach out to our registrar, Ms. Loeb, and ask her sometime in April. All right, there's a question about whether students can bring wheeled backpacks. Yes, we have lots of wheeled backpacks right now. We just ask that the students are not running when they're carrying, whether or not they're carrying their wheel backpacks or not, that they're not running around, because we unfortunately have had some students falling over the wheel backpacks because someone was running with it, and that becomes a hazard. So we do allow them. We just want students to, of course, use them carefully and be thoughtful about the others around them.
There's a question about clubs. We do have clubs. They take place mostly during lunchtime. One question is asking if there's anything art related. Typically, yes. The clubs vary year to year based on student interest. So like this year, we have lots of clubs that go on. There's a chess club. Let's see here, a book club. There's different clubs going on. There's a game room club going on, GSA, Muslim. Let's see, there's a speech, drama. So it just varies year to year. So if there's a club that a student would like to start, that was another question earlier. Can a student begin a club? They can. It's pretty easy to start a club, but there are some guidelines they have to follow, and we can walk them through that. If they are interested in starting a club, there has to be an advisor. They can't just meet in a classroom without an adult. So there always has to be an advisor present. So that's part of it. But yes, they can start clubs as well.
Unfortunately, there is no plans right now for boys soccer or girls soccer at the middle school level. But once they go to high school, they'll have that available.
So a question about Maze Day, if you can't attend, that's okay. You're not required to. Maze Day is, the day when a lot of students will get their PE clothes, get their picture taken for their ID card, pick up their schedule. So if you're not able to attend, those things will be available at a later time. There will be like a makeup day for the pictures, and you can get the PE clothes at a later time through the PE teachers. And by that time, the schedules should be available online in Infinite Campus.
There's a question about where do they keep their extra books and binders. So a lot of our curriculum is online right now, where they are not dependent on textbooks. And if they do have textbooks, and teachers have a class set that they keep in the class, so students shouldn't be carrying a lot of heavy books around with them. What we have found, because sometimes we're interacting with students and we're seeing the insides of their backpacks, that they're carrying around a lot of things that they don't need to carry around. So we encourage you to continue to check with them and to help them with the organization system, right? That we've had students who are carrying around paper from September that really doesn't need to be in their backpack anymore. And that was a full stack. So a lot of things could be emptied out. And if you continue to work with them through these organization habits, that definitely helps out a lot. But no, they shouldn't be carrying textbooks because we have class sets in all the classrooms.
But we don't have the regular lockers outside. I don't know if you just answered that. There's lockers inside the locker room for when they change, but out in the quad area, they do not. So they'll need to keep their things with them in their backpacks. And again, a lot of times they don't need to bring books. They have an class set, or it might be online. So there is a way to kind of streamline those backpacks. I know how heavy they can get, and but they've gotten a lot better with us being able to go online with some things and have class sets.
Someone is asking about how to get information about electives. The students all get their elective wheel class. So that's for all the 6th graders. When they go into 7th and 8th grade, they'll have other electives that's more options to choose from. In terms of sports, we have our daily bulletin. It's a short video that our first period teachers play to students every morning. And that video has updated information about signups. And we also sent out that information to families in our newsletters too. So you'll be getting the sports tryout information through both the video bulletin every day to the students, and then also to in our newsletter to families. Right, someone's asking the student to teacher ratio. It's about 30-1, and sometimes over, sometimes much under. So it all depends on just the different calculations that our system does, but average about 30-1.
Or maybe 33. 33 might be
Yeah, it
accurate.
is
33
different from elementary school. There is no elementary school. There is a hard cap of 30 students. That does not exist at secondary, but there is a ratio. And so I can tell you at Horner, most of the classes are 32.
All right, someone asked if there is another date for the expo. Unfortunately, no, because it is a huge event that we're putting together. So that will be the date for our expo. There's no second expo.
Ms. Quay, there's questions about that virtual tour, the one that Mr. Parek's class created. It's on our website, isn't it? Is it accessible? Because they're saying that some people are saying they can't open it.
Okay, let me just mute myself. I can give it a try. Mrs. Moore, you want to answer some more questions in the meantime?
Yes, let's see. Some of these are repeating questions, so I'm trying to sift through. How many 6th grade classes? I'm not sure how many classes. I think there's about 450 students, if I, give or take, that we're expecting, but I don't know what that will mean in how many classes. I know we're in the process of hiring teachers, and we've hired several, but we still have a few more to go.
Somebody was asking about school supply lists. I encourage you not to go out and buy a lot of supplies for your students. Each teacher is going to be different and will have different asks of the families for what their kids should bring. So unlike elementary school, where the teachers usually get together and create a list, that does not happen typically at middle school or high school. So please don't go out and buy a bunch of supplies for your kids right now.
A question about like phones and smartwatches. This is a new question that popped up. So students in middle school, per the board policy, they are allowed to have their phones at school. However, the phones need to be turned off during the school day. They are not allowed to use them during lunchtime. They're not allowed to use them during passing period. The only time they can use their phone at school is with the permission of their teacher. So the teacher might be doing something in class, like maybe doing a Kahoot activity where they allow the students to use their phone to participate. But normally the phones are turned off, powered off, not just silenced, but they are turned off. We do confiscate them. We use progressive discipline. And the same is true for those smartwatches, because those smartwatches are very smart. They're connected to the phones, and the students are communicating that way as well. If a student ever needs to call their parent, we never stop them, but they need to come to the office to do that. We do not want them hiding in a bathroom doing that, or stepping outside of class. We want the students to come up to the office, and then we will always let them either use our phone, or we may let them just use their own phone to call home. So thank you for asking that question. But so again, they can have the phones, but they need to be turned off during the school day. Same with the smartwatches. They can be, I think there's a mode where they can turn it off so it's not connected to the phone. It's just used as a watch only.
Can I answer one more?
Uh-huh.
So sixth graders, they will not be in the same classroom all day. However, they will have the same teacher for math and science. So they will stay in that room for those 2 periods. And they will have the same teacher for English and history. So they will be with that teacher for those 2 periods. So that's why we said it was a softer transition. Instead of going to 6 different classes, it will be 4 different classes, because they will have ELA history together, math science together. And then one more, somebody asked about when the 6th grade wheel started. The 6th grade wheel started the first time with Walters when it converted 4 years ago, I believe. And prior to Walters having the 6th grade wheel, we had a middle school task force was compiled and went to other middle schools in the Bay Area and saw what they were doing for their 6th grade students, and then took that information. Our curriculum and instruction department then spent a year putting together the 6th grade wheel curriculum. And over the last 4 or 5 years, slowly even making it, expanding it a little bit more, and working on that. So the 6th grade wheel at Horner and Walters is going to be the same wheel that the kids see at Hopkins and Thornton and Centerville.
Thank you. A question came up, how do you prevent students from using ChatGPT to do homework? Well, it's happening, and students are, I'm sure some students have gotten away with it and some students are getting caught. We take academic dishonesty very seriously. So again, we use progressive discipline. Academic dishonesty will go on a student's behavior file. So start at home with that conversation with your child about, preserving integrity and not taking what they think is an easy way out. We've had some interesting cases recently where students have been busted using the ChatGPT. So it's just one of those things, another thing that we have to be on the lookout for. If it's not a TikTok challenge, it's ChatGPT. So again, have those conversations with your students.
I just changed the setting of the video. I think prior it might have been set to only be viewable by Fremont Unified staff. You will have to refresh your screen though, the slideshow screen, to get the new settings. So give that a try again to watch our video and let us know if it's you're still having some issues.
There's requests for Miss English or Mr. Jimenez to say something. I don't know if they have a quick moment to chime in.
Was there a specific question?
Can you talk about special ed services in middle school?
Yeah, so all of our middle schools offer resource, and Hopkins has a tradition of quite a bit in terms of inclusive practices. So there is a mild class on the campus mild moderate class on the campus, but many of those students mainstream and have the support of the special education teacher, resource specialist, and some students also have inclusion services. So there's quite a bit there offered for our special education students. We also have an II class at Hopkins. Were there any new classes coming next year?
I think we might have moderate coming.
And a moderate, yes, I believe that works. So there's quite a bit in terms of special ed offerings, pretty much to fit the needs for any students. So your IEP team will be meeting in the spring if they haven't yet met. Some people were holding the transition meetings, but for the most part, you'll probably meet no later than May and do your students' middle school transition IEP. And at that time, the team will make a recommendation for the type of program that your student should receive at Hopkins.
Thank you.
And once again, for all of you that joined us a little bit after the introductions, thank you. I know there's a lot of information to absorb all at once. My recommendation is that you take a look at the link that was shared for the entire presentation. The video, actually, it's pretty awesome. So great job on that. And definitely, if you have any specific questions, please make sure that you reach out to the site administration. And for us, those at the district level as well, we're happy to help and assist as well as needed. So once again, and just want to say thank you for a really thorough and very much detailed presentation. As a former middle school principal for 9 years, I can tell you that I know it's scary, that transition from elementary to middle, but definitely kids are very resilient. My recommendation always to parents and to students every time I met them for the first time was to find a trusted adult on campus that they can connect with. That way, if they have questions, comments, or concerns, that person is a key advisor for them on campus. So that's always something very helpful, finding a trusted adult on campus. But again, please review the information. I'm going to recommend to all parents to please get involved. There was information about our parent faculty association. So that is a great way for you to stay informed and involved as well. And that's, my recommendation. Again, thank you for a great informational evening.
Thank you, Dr. Jimenez, Ms. English, and Ms. Perez for joining us tonight. We are a little bit over time. I want to honor everyone's time. And I know that we still have 65 questions in the Q&A and it will likely increase, right? So of course, there might always be questions that are left unanswered. I want to encourage everyone to please feel free to reach out to Mrs. Moore and myself after tonight. Again, the recorded version of this webinar will be available on our website. If you go to Hopkins website and click on that registration link, you'll see the recording tomorrow morning. And in the slideshow, you have all of our contact information. Please feel free to reach out. We're happy to answer any questions that we're not able to answer tonight. But thank you so much for joining us and have a great night, everyone.